Es gibt 7 verschiedene Arten von braunen Augen, jede mit ihren eigenen verborgenen Vorteilen. Beginnen wir mit dem Bernsteinauge, auch bekannt als Wolfsauge. Der Begriff Bernstein wird oft zu leichtfertig verwendet.
True amber is a solid, uniform, yellowish copper pigment. Nature produces this through a dominance of pheomelanin, the yellow-red pigment.
With almost zero eumelanin, it is a genetic anomaly where the stroma is essentially devoid of the dark pigment. Es ist eine genetische Anomalie, bei der das Stroma fast kein dunkles Eumelanin enthält. You are one of the rarest brown eye carriers on the planet. The hidden advantage is purely evolutionary speculation. Es ist eine genetische Anomalie, bei der das Stroma fast kein dunkles Eumelanin enthält. While humans don't have the night vision hardware of a wolf, this rare pigment structure is visually unique in the animal kingdom. Socially, this eye color can be intense. Because it is so rare and animalistic, people often perceive them as mysterious. Studies on facial perception show that people with solid amber eyes are often perceived as more mysterious or even intimidating. They are perceived as more intimidating compared to the warmer, softer espresso brown eyes. Now, let's look at the ash brown. Not all brown is warm. There exists a shade known as ash brown or slate brown, which is visually confusing. It looks like a brown eye viewed through a gray filter. It lacks the warmth of the cognac or honey shades. This look is caused by the Tyndall effect occurring deep within the iris. The melanin is located deeper in the stroma. The outer layer has more collagen obstruction. The light has to travel through a cloudier medium before reflecting back. This interferes with the warm wavelengths, muting the reds and yellows, and presenting a cool, steely brown to the viewer. The hidden advantage is camouflage. This eye color is incredibly neutral. It doesn't clash with skin tones or hair colors. It is often found in populations with highly mixed ancestry, like Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and Central Asia. It is the genetic evidence of 2 distinct ancestries, light-eye genes and dark-eye genes, merging perfectly. The disadvantage is that this eye color can sometimes appear dull or flat in photographs because it doesn't reflect the warm spectrum. It's a subtle beauty that requires close contact to be appreciated. Now, let's move to the cognac eye.
Now things get genetically weird. Have you ever seen brown eyes that look reddish or coppery in the sunlight?
We call this the cognac or chestnut shade. This is where that second pigment, pheomelanin, starts to crash the party.
While eumelanin creates the brown, pheomelanin introduces yellows and reds. In cognac eyes, the genetic recipe includes a standard amount of brown melanin, but with a mutation spike that produces higher levels of red pigment. This often correlates with the MC1R gene,
the same gene family responsible for red hair and freckles. You don't need to be a redhead to have cognac eyes.
But with a mutation spike that produces higher levels of red pigment. This often correlates with the MC1R gene. The same genetic pathway that allows for these reddish tones is often linked to skin types that generate vitamin D more efficiently. Your ancestors likely adapted to move away from the equator, and your eyes are a remnant of that journey.
The disadvantage is that because you have slightly less eumelanin than the obsidian types, you are more sensitive to UV radiation.
You don't have the heavy-duty sunglasses built in, so you need to be more careful about eye protection than your darker-eyed cousins. As we lower the melanin volume, we enter the territory of russet, or honey brown. This is where physics takes over. Remember how the sky is blue because of Rayleigh scattering? Well, that same effect happens in your eyes. When the stroma has less melanin, it becomes translucent. Light enters, hits the collagen fibers, and scatters.
In honey brown eyes, you have a Goldilocks situation.
You have some melanin mixed with some blue scattering from the collagen.
Yellow plus a tiny hint of blue creates that rich, golden, almost metallic look. It is literally the physics of light mixing with biology. The hidden advantage is the chameleon effect. Because this shade relies partially on light scattering, it is highly responsive to the environment. In a dim room, they look brown. In direct sunlight, the scattering kicks in, and they ignite into a golden honey color. You effectively have a built-in dimmer switch in your eyes that changes your appearance based on the weather. The disadvantage is that with great beauty comes great sensitivity. You are entering the medium risk zone for photophobia, or light sensitivity. You might find yourself squinting on cloudy days when the sky is white and bright, something people with espresso eyes rarely deal with. The Obsidian, the ancient shield, often mistake her for black eyes. Physically, true black eyes do not exist in humans. If you had zero iris structure, you'd have a medical condition called aniridia. What you are seeing here is the obsidian brown.
This is the heavy artillery of eye colors. In these eyes, the concentration of eumelanin is so incredibly dense that it absorbs almost 99% of the light that hits the iris. The stroma is saturated, leaving very little light to scatter back out, creating that velvety, bottomless look. Evolution doesn't waste energy making pigment for no reason. This shade is the original blueprint of humanity.
Evolved in the hottest, most sun-drenched latitudes to act as high-grade biological sunglasses. The hidden advantage is the high-performance eye.
Because the high melanin absorbs stray light so effectively, people with obsidian eyes naturally struggle less with glare. You likely have better visual acuity in extremely bright environments compared to your blue-eyed friends. There is also a fascinating theory regarding reaction speed. Several studies have suggested a correlation between dark eye pigment and faster reactive motor tasks, like boxing, possibly due to faster neural transmission speeds associated with melanin production. The disadvantage is that you might feel things more intensely. One preliminary study suggests a link between the genes for dark eyes and a lower tolerance for physical pain compared to lighter eyes.
So while you can react faster, the hit might hurt a little more. Now, the espresso color.
Step down slightly in density, and we arrive at the espresso or coffee brown. This is the most common variant.
But it hides a secret texture. Because the melanin isn't as wall-to-wall packed as the obsidian shade, we start to see the topography of the iris. You might notice small craters or furrow lines. These aren't flaws. They are windows into the deeper stroma.
A study from Georgia State University found that people with classic dark brown eyes statistically show a higher sensitivity to alcohol.
Meaning they get tipsy faster than blue-eyed people. Why is this an advantage? Because it naturally prevents overconsumption. The study found brown-eyed populations were statistically less likely to develop alcohol dependency because their bodies signaled stop much earlier.
The disadvantage is purely aesthetic. You often need direct sunlight to show off the detail in your eyes.
Indoors, they can look flat, masking that complex 3D crypt structure that makes them so beautiful.
Look at this graphic designer's brown eye. It's a starburst. This isn't just a color, it's a unique pattern.
You look closely and you see a dense ring of chocolate brown around the pupil, which then explodes outward into streaks of gold, green, or hazel. This is often a form of central heterochromia. It happens when the melanocytes run out of steam halfway through the development of the iris in the womb. They pack the center with melanin, but as the iris expands outward, the pigment delivery slows down, leaving the outer ring lighter. The hidden advantage is the focus hack. This pattern creates a mesmerizing bullseye effect. Because the human brain is wired to notice contrast, when people look at you, their attention is funneled directly to your pupil. It makes your eye contact feel significantly more intense and engaging than someone with a solid eye color. You are biologically designed to hold attention. The disadvantage is confusion. You will likely spend your entire life arguing with people about what color your eyes actually are. Are they brown? Are they green? Are they hazel? You will never get a straight answer.
because you are literally a genetic hybrid.
So how did you end up with your specific shade? It all comes down to a tiny region on chromosome 15.
The boss is a gene called HERC2. Think of it as a volume knob.
If HERC2 turns the volume up, you get obsidian or espresso eyes. If it turns the volume down, you get honey or hazel.
Every brown-eyed person is essentially walking around with their melanin volume set to a slightly different decibel.
If you have brown eyes, you don't just have a color. You have a complex atmospheric layer.
You have a shield that allowed your ancestors to survive the radiation of the equator.
You have a pattern of crypts and furrows that is mathematically unique in the entire history of the universe.
So, go look in a mirror, use a flashlight carefully, and tell me, which of these 7 shades is actually looking back at you?
I read every comment, so let me know down below if you have the rare starburst or the classic espresso.
Think science. Think science.
Think science.